All right. So let's do a health check on Bitcoin. Let's catch up on Bitcoin. Many people know that there was some new highs reached. We're going to do a technical breakdown on this and make some projections as far as where we're going next. So, there was a new high reached. I think it was right about 112,000 or very close to it. So, I'm just trying to zoom in and just get. I'm looking at one exchange, Coinbase. Different exchanges have different prices, but yeah, 112,000 basically on a dot. 112,000. So that was the new high. Okay, so people are wondering what's next. So we're going to talk about what's next. We're going to zoom in close and see where we are now. And we're going to talk about some of the frenzy that is starting to take place as people react to certain news events, mainly political news events and things like the presidency and tariffs and trade wars and stuff like that. What I'm going to show and illustrate to you here is you can leave Bitcoin out of it. Okay, so again, talking about where Bitcoin has come from and where it went. So we'll just use some standard. This is a quick review. Standard A to B is equal to CD action is what got us where we are now. So it's very important to note that. Okay. So the only reason we are where we are is because of the completion of this A to B is equal to CD pattern. No matter whether you like it, hate it, understand it or not, as I am illustrating, this was the completion. This is how the market moves. Okay. Meaning A to B was equal to C and D. So the pattern was completed. Okay. And when we say A to B is equal to C, D, it's an equal measure move, meaning A to B. If you clone it, which you saw me do, and put it on C, it's going to complete there. Price will be overbought at that point, as you see. Price was overbought. If you look at the RSI, the pattern is complete. The buyers are exhausted and you will get an outside return or correction or retracement. The same way when the A to B leg was complete, it was overbought, exhausted, you got a correction. Okay. Now, the A to B correction was very minor. It was about 38%. So I'm just going to measure it to show you guys. Okay. So A to B. Okay. So the A to B correction was very light. It was very slight, I should say. And like I said, it was about 38% the first time around. Just wicks down into the 382 retracement. Okay. So it was 38% on the correction here. Okay. Meaning from A to B, this is 38% down. So it's very minor, but just like you get all the time because people just can't help themselves, they went into a frenzy on this fall from 75,000 back down to 49,000. They went into this frenzy when it was a minor correction. 38% is a slight. It's not a deep, steep one like a 61% correction or a 78% correction. Okay. That's minor. That's expected, especially with the way that Bitcoin moves when it's trending, especially in this fashion. So let's talk about the C to D move, okay? And then that's going to help us tie everything together. On the C to D move, of course, you were overbought at that time. Buyers exhausted, couldn't get any higher, and you got some relief, a rejection, a correction, a retracement. All of that happened. You can see this with your eyes. I'm not making this up. Okay, you got price action to fall back, and it again wasn't very steep because you see what's happening with Bitcoin's trend. The pullbacks or corrections or retracements are not very deep. So, in this point, a little bit deeper than 38, I would suggest it was probably 50% this time. So I'm going to grab the measurement tool again. I'm going to start here from the low wick. I'm going to go to the high and we're going to measure that right there. And you heard me say this time a little bit deeper than 32, maybe about 50%, right? And you can see that it was exactly 50%. So you got a 38% correction and then you got a 50% correction, which again is not very steep. You don't start talking steepness until you start talking about 61%, 618 retracement and beyond. 618, 786, 886. That's deep. 50% is actually kind of shallow. Now, okay, so we got the new high. We broke and closed above it as well. Okay. Did we break and close above Not quite, not quite. So that's very important to note out that to this point, we haven't even so it's a difference between just having a high and a higher high, higher close. So actually, Bitcoin isn't even in the clear yet until this action here, which is I'm on the weekly chart, but this week here has to close above this. Look at this. So we haven't even closed. We have a higher high, but we don't have a higher close. Okay, and that's where you would get what you call H3C, H3C, or higher high, higher close principle. Okay. So that hasn't been achieved. Okay. So no H3C. It has not occurred yet. But once we do get it, that's going to be something different. Like maybe on the daily, if we're on the weekly chart, if we fall back to the day, you kind of will see it. Yeah. On the day, you do see it. So that has to go into consideration. Okay. And then, of course, you get the little pullback. Going to be a little bit of support there and you're pushing up. So people are starting to panic and cause a lot of frenzy about this little day or so. This red day here might have been 2 days of pullback after the high was established, after you get the close. So you actually did get H3C, higher high, higher close. That went into effect, closing higher than the previous high here, at least on the daily chart. It'd be great if it had the same effect on the weekly chart. But either way, I started hearing people say, "Oh, you're going to get a pullback to like," they started running off and naming off prices and stuff like that. And I completely understand how these things can happen. But here's what I want to do. Okay. Remember how we were talking when we were on the weekly chart. Okay. What you'll see, and this is on any chart, what you'll see when price action is about to reverse or you're going to get a correction or a pullback is you'll see the double top action. Okay. You'll see the double top action. Okay. Which is what you saw. And then you got your pullback. Or there might have been more than one, but or when you had the double bottom. So you'll always have the retest like action. Okay. Most of the time. Okay. So you got your double bottom here. You got a double top here. And so you got your double bottom, and then you got your takeoff. You got your double top, and then you got your correction. So you can expect that. I had to go through that to bring us up a little bit closer and show you something. You got the same thing here. See, now does that make sense? You got your double top, you got your retest up there, and you got your fill, and you got your rejection on it. Okay. And price rolled over. It's fine. Okay. So it's like, okay, now what's next? Okay. What's next is very, very simple. Okay. So we see the structure analysis. That's the angle we're taking here. Okay. You see where the base of structure is here. We'll just make them green for support. Okay. Because we're almost done. Okay. And at that point, since you see where the top is, where price was exhausted and rolled down, all you really need to do is run your extension off the lowest low. Okay. The lowest low is the guy in there. Okay. Let me take the green off for a second so we can see. Okay, that's your lowest low to your highest high. So just run an extension. It's going to basically give you the projection. People make this a lot harder than they really need to when you're talking about making projections. So your high to your low, and then basically you could just bring on all three levels and see which one makes sense. I mean, 127%, 141%, 161%. So bring on those levels, because once Bitcoin breaks and closes the 112 area that he was at, which he's going to do, he's going to break that. The next stop is going to be 115,000. So now you guys know what the next stop is for Bitcoin. So when you get to 115,000, please do not be surprised, because of course you know that the market is trending. It ebbs and flows, and as it's doing that, it does that higher high, higher close principle. So after you get your 115. Okay, of course, your next level at 141% is 116. And of course, your next level, and this is as far as we can go, is the 119 $1,000 level. So yes, you are quickly approaching 120,000 on Bitcoin. Now, to calm all the other things that you could hear, right? Like I said, there's a lot of frenzy about how far could this come back. Remember, I talked about the degrees of retracement or correction or a pullback, right? Meaning on the weekly chart, those corrections were only 38% on the first big one and 50% on the second big one. You could look at that here, right? So from the low to the high, you could do that again. You could take your Fibonacci retracement and you can measure to see, right? It's the same way we project going up, right? On the extension side, we can project on the correction side, okay? So what I mean is it's already hit the 382, okay? It's already tested the 382. We know that a correction can go as low as 50%, meaning it could come down some more. But even if we got a 50% retracement, Bitcoin is still over 106,000. Okay, let's take it a step further. Let's put some of these deeper retracements on here. Even if, okay, we could get that. 618 would be your golden ratio, 61%. And even at a 618, you still would be at 105. So 102 is not really in the picture. And I'll tell you why. Because to get that, then you would be talking about something so steep, right? Because to get 102, you'd have to break and close below the 786 retracement of the previous move, the low to the high. You'd have to break and close below 78, the 786 retracement, which is 103, to get to 102. Okay. And at that point, then you would have dropped right back into the box right here where the support is, retesting that. But the problem is there's no reason to drop into support at 100 when we know that the support for Bitcoin is more likely in this range here, right? Somewhere in between this 105 to 101. But a suggestion just based on trend down to 102 is a little bit extreme from my technical opinion. Okay, so I think we got that all the way out. We kind of got our projections to the top. We can see 119. We're not too far from that. We've been at 112. Our current price is almost about 109. It's 3,000. I think that people can relax and just let Bitcoin do what it does and just watch out for a lot of the doom and gloom and fear mongering. And I mean, a slight correction, 112 to 108 is $4,000 on Bitcoin, which you can do in a minute. And you got people flopping and flailing and going all over the place. So you guys sit tight, be tuned. I hope this video brought some value to you. Share this video if you know anyone who is interested or asks questions about Bitcoin or could use an explanation in this form of technical analysis. Hit the thumbs up button if you like this video, and subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. Turn on your notifications, hit the bell icon so you can be notified when other videos come out. Until then, you guys take care, be safe in the market, and we will see you on the next video.